Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
All right, it is 11:02. Welcome to The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here today. Dusty is with you. Hustle be by shortly. You can text us anytime at 780-218-9999. It is a game day. I see Mitchie over in the chat saying, again, my stomach is in knots. I can't handle these games. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Everybody's nervous. This is the playoffs. It's exciting tonight for Game 5. Tommy Gazzola will be set up live for the pre- and post-game show at Hudson's on White. Looking forward to that as well. Duck Dad's going into a meeting. We'll watch later on delay, but big news. Congrats, Dusty and EST. Yeah, Malika Bronco Nick says, I reactivated my Play Alberta account and I found some money in there. Bonus. So as of starting on Thursday, we mentioned it on the Hangout, starting on Thursday, it is a significant deal for Edmonton Sports Talk. It will actually be Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. This is the title sponsorship of our entire station. It's a significant deal. If you're looking for more details on it, you can slide on back to the Hangout today. I kind of went over everything there, but starting on Thursday, we'll have some bonuses for you as well. I was in the DGen Den over on the Discord channel over the last hour or so, chatting with all the DGen Den, and I think most of them are very excited about what we got going on. And it's a very unique opportunity for us here at Edmonton Sports Talk to essentially help Play Alberta build and improve their book, and they've launched the app, relaunched it recently. It's good, but I was chatting with Jordan after. He goes, for any of your listeners or viewers, when you're using the app and you see things that you want, or you want to make it better, or you want to do this, let us know. And I've already seen some responses to it, like over in the Discord, the DJ and Dan. They're like, you know what, a dark mode for the website would be cool. That's something that eventually can probably help them get going. So yeah, it's gonna be excellent. We're gonna be fully integrated into their website. We'll have our own specific EST tab over on the left side, which Play Alberta has not done with any other partners. And yeah, it's very exciting moving forward. So a lot more details on Thursday as we officially launch this across all of our shows. But Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta is now a thing. So that's exciting. Very much looking forward to that. And I said it earlier, it's a significant deal that helps us stabilize Edmonton Sports Talk. I don't want to say forever, but for a long time, which is very exciting. Cowboy says, dumb question, but can you sign up for Play Alberta from outside Alberta? No, it's Alberta. It's an Alberta book, which is why we're very happy to be a part of it. It's here, but you can go on Play Alberta. You can kind of look at things. But on Play Alberta, you bet in Alberta, it stays in Alberta. And they're huge partners, like exclusive partners with the Oilers, Flames, Elks, Stampeders, and now us. And it's nice for us locally to be put at that level, which is exciting. So it's good news moving forward. If you like EST and you love EST and you want us to continue to get bigger and better, our deal with Play Alberta will help us accomplish that. So it's very exciting times. I am, and good hoodie swag. I mean, it's good. Everybody's loving these hoodies around here. They got the Adidas on one side, and because they're partners with the Oilers on the other. I was chatting with Jordan from PA after I was on the Hangout today, and I have to tell you, some good stuff cooking up. One suggestion that he made today, so legendary for Nielsen show listeners that it could be an all-time experience. That's all I'll say. We got to try to get some deals in place, but it could be. So I'm having a drink today. A cheers. Mm. Yes, Trev, you can get a win. Yeah, you can. Huss is going to be joining us. We will get to that, and lots to get to. National Hockey League last night. I saw Jets practice. I think Ehlers was buzzing around out there. So we'll get to that. NBA last night we can certainly get to. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can fire us a text at 780-218-9999 or hit us up over in the Nasty Chat. Normology says no rope hats. Actually, you know what? This is a nice hat. But Norm, that's one of the things I can suggest to them when they do their next swag order. Hey guys, what do you think about some rope hats? And we can get that figured out. Jen says, Dusty, did you figure out the Discord link? I'm going to get back around to that, Jen. I had to quickly prep for this show and the two guys and a goalie after I was in the Discord channel. You know, the Discord thing. I know there's been a big buzz on Discord recently. You know, like since they launched it, I've never really dabbled in it too much. I think what I have to do is I just have to move the Discord app to like one of the top 2 pages on my phone and then start to click on all the time. Because I had a lot of fun in the Discord chat today. I thought that was pretty good. So yeah, exciting times. Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. That is now a thing. Starting on Thursday, that'll officially go into place, and we are very excited about that. Also excited about this hockey game tonight. And for that, we've got Huss, and Huss slides in today from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Huss, what's this? I see Ehlers buzzing around. Hey, what's going on here? Coming in to save the day?
That was nice. Listen, he's not playing this series. I'm not even getting my hopes up at all. They're going to need to figure this out. Although it does sound like they're getting Gabe Vilardi back tomorrow, which will be a very welcome addition to the lineup. If anyone doubted Nikolai Ehlers' importance to the Winnipeg Jets, just look at what's happened to the second line since he hasn't been there. Perfetti's actually had a few really good looks, just hasn't been able to bury them. But it's night and day, and man, has it affected the power play as well. Now the power play is going to get a boost with Vilardi coming back. He's a big part of that as well. But we got through yesterday, and now it's time to focus in on a 2-2 series that granted didn't feel like it was 2-2 yesterday.
You know what? You're right, Huss. Like, we had people texting into the Nielson show this morning being like, man, Huss, there's their lock shop. He's pretty round about the Jets here, eh? But it is 2-2. You still have home ice in a best of 3. I mean, I think you probably take that, don't you?
I mean, at the start of the series, yeah, although I thought they might be able to take care. Listen, when they won the first 2 at home, you're hoping that at minimum you're coming back 3-1 with a chance to win it at home on Wednesday night. I mean, that wasn't the case, and the games went very, very poorly. So I think it might be to their real benefit that, they traveled back on Sunday after the game. They had yesterday off for an optional if they wanted to go out and take a whirl. Big practice today. And then that game tomorrow with some nice kind of time, much like St. Louis did with the 3-day break in between games 2 and 3. But as I said yesterday, and I'm not backing off this, tomorrow night is the biggest gut check that this team has seen. It's different than the last couple of years, playing against really good teams that you kind of realize that they'd be lucky to get a game. I mean, they're right in this series. It didn't look that at times in St. Louis, but it is 2-2. I mean, one of our chatters had the line of the day yesterday that said, the Blues are leading the series 2-2. Like, it's 2-2, everyone. Like, let's focus on it. And I mean, Hellebuck yesterday, I don't know if you caught any of Hellebuck's quotes. I've always said he's one of the most interesting dudes in the league to hear from. I mean, he always says exactly what he thinks. He has a confidence level that everyone should aspire to have in what they do. But he made a crack about, looking and, studying what he's been doing and what's going on. He's like, this was a quote. I'm not sure that anyone has studied goaltending more than me. And he thought about it for a minute, and then he goes, in the world, like on planet Earth. He is the one that has studied the most.
Super nerd goalie guy, right? Like he's
he is all about the preparation and everything.
Was the follow-up question, so how come you haven't figured out screens? Did somebody throw that at him?
No, I don't think anyone gave that shot. Hey, listen, the team needs to be better in front of them. I think they will be tomorrow. It should be a hell of a game. But I am quite pleased that we all needed an extra day here to kind of come over the disappointment of game 4, get it out yesterday, and now fire it up for 2 days for tomorrow night. And I feel quite thankful that we can move on from the 2 games yesterday in the election into 4 games tonight. And then a long wait before an 8:50 puck drop here in Winnipeg tomorrow night for a game that could define, in a lot of ways, the legacy of a lot of guys in that locker room. So
the 8:50 local puck drop for a playoff game.
Yeah.
Man.
On a weeknight.
I mean 8 o'clocks, I get 8 o'clocks, but 8:50s are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's welcome to the Central Division. A lot of people say, "Wow, why are they making Winnipeg do this?" This is just a matter of fact of the TV world that we live in the Central Division. There's so many games in the East. Those East games will always be going at 6. The West Coast games, it's not a big deal to have them go coming up at 9. That's 7 there. But here in the Central, when they're planning these games for the second half of doubleheaders, you get the 8:30 start time that really is 8:52. And, sometimes you get a pretty liquored up crowd for the start, which can be great. But sometimes I have seen it does sap the energy of the crowd depending on the game later on. I have no doubt that Winnipeg will show up in white and be ready to go tomorrow behind their team. So, but as I say, I feel fortunate just to be able to not worry about that tonight, focus in on these 4 games. And hey, let's not forget CFL draft tonight.
CFL draft, import draft already taking place. The CFL draft will go tonight, and we can get into that as we work our way through. I do want to go back to last night, though, Huss. You said, this is how you're feeling. I know how Edmonton's feeling today with this big Game 5 looming. How do you think John Cooper's feeling today after what ended up happening to his Tampa Bay Lightning in the last 4 minutes of that hockey game?
Pissed.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, seriously, that game got away from them so quickly. And to me, I mean, if you don't you're up 2-1, you get a 5-minute power play. Like that often will determine a game. Score, you're winning. Don't score, the other team's probably getting a power play. Guess what? That happened right at the end of the 5 minutes. They scored on it and then got the other one right after that. So devastating loss for Tampa. I really thought that we were looking at, the opposite of the Winnipeg St. Louis series, where the road team was going to win every game and we were going to be set up with another beauty best of 5. I don't rule out Tampa, though, getting this to 6, getting this to 7. These teams are very close. They know each other really well, and that game really could have gone either way. But yeah, John Cooper's pissed. I mean, at the way that thing just sort of broke down, because I thought they had the game to win it in Florida, and they did it. And then we've got the Avs.
Yeah.
I mean, can you believe this team is 1 game from elimination right now? And especially when you look at what's happened in this series. Like, the Avs were clearly the better teams in game 1 and 4. Dallas came back in the third period of both 2 and 3 and found ways to win it overtime, basically never leading in the game. But then last night at home, I mean, Wyatt Johnson, 9 seconds into the game.
That's a tone setter right there. Yeah.
They were never able to recover right now. And you've got the Avs on the ropes. I do think this series goes 7, though. And I think that was sort of the expectation of everyone when these two teams went at it. Although maybe not, because Colorado became a pretty big favorite by the time they dropped.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering, Huss. Like, with what has happened so far in this series, and especially with Dallas in the game they put together last night, like, was that more about Dallas, or is it more about Colorado not being able to take advantage of these games where they look like they've been the better team for a long time? Or do we just sit there and go, even though Dallas is missing some significant pieces, this is a team who has been there and got the job done in the West before a few times?
Yeah, I mean, hard to say. All I'll tell you is that a goal 9 seconds in can sure change a game. And it sort of felt like that. I mean, like, Dallas they got absolutely smashed in game 4. And I think they came back knowing they were somewhat fortunate to be tied 2-2 in the series. But listen, I mean, for them to be up 3-2, I think they need to realize that they still have another gear to get to. And maybe they got to it last night in that 6-2 win. Haven't seen as much frustration like that on the Avs bench in a long time.
Yeah.
You see Nate McKinnon going to Charlie Coyle. I mean, and listen, that happens when you change half of your team over the course of a year. Maybe things won't be as connected as you'd like them to be at playoff time. All I know is that the rumor of the Dallas Stars' demise, I think, was greatly exaggerated going into the series and after game one. They found a way to win 3 of the first 5 against Colorado, and it's going to be a tall task to go into Denver and win game number 6. And I think just for hockey fans, if you have no skin in the game, give us 7 games of these two great teams playing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is exactly what we see.
4 games tonight. Busy night in the National Hockey League. Toronto will have a chance to finish off the Ottawa Senators. Carolina will have a chance to finish off the New Jersey Devils. The Vegas-Minnesota series transitions back to Vegas with a tied at 2, and the same thing about the Oilers and the Kings. Back to Los Angeles, tied at 2. Huss, we asked Craig Button this morning. We were talking about throwing it around a little bit. Do you see an advantage one way or the other in this Los Angeles-Edmonton series the morning of Game 5?
Yeah, I see it for the Oilers.
Significantly? Like you think this is their series to lose now? Would you go that far, or are you just like slight advantage for the Oilers?
Well, I mean, like this series is a pick 'em right now. The Kings have 2 games at home. They've been the best home team all year. So there is some numbers that are sort of cooked into the series that I think if you're a Kings fan or, someone that bet the Kings earlier, you can still have confidence. But I mean, you let the Edmonton Oilers back in games the way the Kings have done so far and not go for the jugular when you have the opportunity, it probably ends up very poorly. And, with the Oilers coming off these 2 big wins and the way they did them, like even if the Oilers lose game 5, I think I might bet Edmonton to win the series after that. Like, I just think that what they were able to do at home, the way they came back in game 1 and didn't win this game, like it didn't win the series. I at the end of the day, I think it's been proven. The same reason why I picked them at the start of the series. This is going to be tight. And when the chips are down, give me the team with 2 of the best players in the world on them, in McDavid and Draisaitl. And here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if you saw the post game with Hiller.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, it's a full-blown meltdown here.
Dude, full-blown meltdown, and he's still feeling the effects of one of the dumbest challenges we've seen in recent playoff history in game number 3. And I think he's sort of lashing out right now. I think he's feeling it big time, and I think the team is as well. So I got a lot of respect for the Kings, and I mean, like, Kopitar is such an incredible leader. I think they'll be ready to play, but you need to be able to do it at that level for 60 minutes to beat a team like Edmonton. And they, even in the games they've won, have shown that they haven't really been up to that challenge. Then you added some mistakes from the coaches. We got a 2-2 series.
Well, that was the thing that popped.
But it is.
The thing that popped up today, Huss, was who's more to blame for this series all of a sudden be at 2-2? And one was Darcy Kemper. Look at the numbers, and at clutch time, he hasn't been great. But the answer still has to be Jim Hiller. Like, I still think it has to be Hiller as to why this team is sort of pissed away a 2-0 lead. Not to take anything away from the Oilers and earning it and coming back, but as a head coach, when you have your team in as many juicy spots as he has had his team in the third periods, you got to find a way to lock that down. And all they do in the third, and it was funny because I think listening on the broadcast and in the first game, like, and to be honest with you, it was kind of funny. I think it was like midway through the first game, Jack and Louie were talking about how, this is a different Kings team. They're a team now that can find ways to hold on to leads. And all they've done this whole series is piss leads away because they're all over the Oilers for 2 periods. And then they get up and they go in the third period and they literally have 5 men back waiting at the blue line. And they're just sort of on their heels. And the Oilers just keep kind of circling back around and going at them and going at them, going at them. And that once again circles back around to, the coach and the way that he's approaching the third period, which is why I thought him becoming unraveled so badly in the post game when asked a legitimate question about their third periods from Dennis Bernstein. Like, it was not a shot. Dennis just asked a question, like, how do you start to get it to lock it down in the third? He's like, I don't know. It just, we sometimes here in Edmonton, and I don't know how it is in Winnipeg with coach, but like here in Edmonton, sometimes we're like, man, Knobloch needs to show some emotion, like some. It's whether they lose or win, it's the exact same guy, kind of like a robot. But at the same time, would you rather have a coach who becomes unraveled almost immediately in a series. It's not a good look.
We've been pretty lucky here in Winnipeg. I mean,
well, you had Bones
coming after Paul Maurice.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I mean, Maurice never met a camera or a microphone that he didn't like. So, I mean, he always gave us something good, depending on the mood that he was in. And I mean, Bones came into Winnipeg with a I don't give an F attitude about, like, he was more than happy to be very honest about what was happening with his team, and everyone absolutely loved him for that. And I mean, Arnie, for the most part, I mean, listen, when you win the President's Trophy, there's not a lot of times to really, get bent and challenge your team. But he did that on a few occasions this year. In particular, the Utah game, I believe towards at the end of January, where the Jets lost, and he came flat out afterwards and said that was the worst game of the year. It was an embarrassing performance, challenged everybody to be better, and they went and won the next 11 games in a row. So, Knobloch does seem like a bit of a flatliner. I mean, you're not really getting a lot from him. And, from a media perspective and a fan perspective, obviously you'd like to get more. Different guys work well with different teams. So no one was complaining about his flatline nature throughout the run to the game 7 of the playoffs last year. So I guess you just got to see what he puts together when it comes to the X's and O's, their game strategies, and how his team plays, and make the judge from that. But there's been some good coach stuff so far in the playoffs. I mean, the Maurice Cooper back and forth is...
Yeah. When Cooper came back with the exact same thing that Maurice said, I was just, man, these guys are so fun.
Did you hear Maurice asked about that afterwards?
No.
Oh, it was funny. It's funny. Said, yeah, my wife told me what Cooper said. She read it out, and I realized that was the exact same thing that I had said the game before. Not bad, Coop. Not bad. Or something to the extent. But hey, they're having fun with that. And Maurice will be able to have a little more fun with it today than Coop will after the way that they lost the last game. It is pretty wild that when we look at the West right now, every series was 2-2. What does that tell you about the the field of playoff teams in the West, as opposed to the East, where you've got the Devils hanging on, having one game, the Sens having won one game, the Habs having one game, all facing elimination going into their 5th match.
Yeah, we sort of assumed that coming in, that the West was stronger, right? I mean, I think most of us probably did. Outside of that, there was the nice sort of, oh man, if Ottawa could upset Toronto, that'd be an awesome sort of pick. But nobody's giving the Habs a chance. Nobody's giving the Devils a chance. We knew Tampa, Florida was going to be awesome. It might not go as long as we did. But when you look at it out in the West, man, none of this is surprising me right now. Like, the teams that made the playoffs in the West, including the St. Louis Blues, who got super hot, and the Minnesota Wild, who got legitimately healthy. I mean, any one of those teams, maybe I'm taking a little bit too far. I still didn't think I'd see Minnesota maybe making it to a conference final. You can buy in the red hot Blues, chemistry's hit. I didn't pick them to beat the Winnipeg Jets, but you can make a case for like 7.5 if you want to give a healthy Minnesota team, the benefit of the doubt, because they were so good in the first half of the year, lurking around there just behind Winnipeg for a long time. I mean, the West is wide open. We should not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 3 game 7s in the West, at least. I mean, I'll be disappointed actually if we don't.
That's actually an interesting prop. How many game 7s will we get in the West? I think it's highly likely we get one in Dallas, Colorado.
Yep.
Then you've got Winnipeg, St. Louis. I think there's a very good chance of that happening. Edmonton, LA.
I would bet Edmonton, LA to go 7 right now.
And I'll tell you what, and we can kind of get to these games tonight. I don't rule out the Minnesota Wild winning tonight in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, the Knights, I don't want to say we're really fortunate to win that game, because it was a really tight game 4 that could have gone either way. But man, the Wild had their chances. They had a lead. And I think Vegas really showed the mettle that a championship club has to have to survive in the playoffs. But do not write off the Wild right now. They are playing. And they went in and they could have probably won both games in Vegas. I mean, they have been right in this series. I know the first one got away on them. They were clearly the better team in game number 2. And I think they've got a lot of confidence playing against this Vegas team. And certainly I can guarantee you that Kaprizov, Eriksson, Ek, and Boldy are feeling it right now with what they've been able to do so far. So this is like, I think Minnesota is undervalued at plus 190. And I'm seeing Vegas at minus 227. And of those 4 series, Vegas was the biggest favorite. And I guess I can understand that argument. But like I said yesterday, it did sort of surprise me that it was Vegas and then Winnipeg, the most likely teams to win out of those 8 teams that were locked at 2-2 in the West, heading into last night's action with Dallas and Colorado and the rest of the games tonight and tomorrow.
We had a good read on Minnesota. Hit them as a dog when they were at home. And I mean, I'm with you from a value perspective. I think the Minnesota Wild, probably the best value play on the board tonight. I mean, unless somehow you want to make a case for the New Jersey Devils, but I don't see that really popping up here. Do you?
No. I mean, that to me is sort of like the extra series that you might watch a bit. If I ended up watching a bit of it Sunday as I sat in silence for 90 minutes after the Jets Blues game, just looking. I had a buddy that was all locked in on the Laker game beside me, so that was nice to sort of take my
what a guy
my dark thoughts away. I was saying this to Remus. The worst part of Game 4, and again, I'm moving on. We're going to be ready for tomorrow night, but to lose like that on a noon game, I mean, to have to chew on that from 3 o'clock
the rest of the day.
Going to bed. I went to bed earlier on Sunday night than I have at any point, maybe in 2 or 3 years, because I just wanted the day to be over. Get up the next day and
the person that night at 7-Eleven is like trying to call you to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, there was a wellness check. There was a wellness check by a certain someone. I appreciated that too.
Nielson and Haas with you. Okay, so Battle of Ontario tonight. Ottawa got their victory. Now they have to go into Toronto. I don't think things tighten up just yet with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're in a very comfortable position. They obviously have a different head coach this year. How surprised would you be if Ottawa can actually extend this thing and live to play another day?
It wouldn't stun me. I mean, I think the line and the numbers on this series have been pretty good all year, all series long. I mean, the Leafs, even at home, haven't been like massive minus 200 favorites. And I think Ottawa's played them well enough. I mean, let's not forget that, I mean, they lost 2 games in overtime. I guess they won one in OT too, but I mean, this game could easily be over. It could be 3-1 Ottawa. So I think Ottawa's live in this series. I think they know they've got their win, which I think was really important. They didn't want the indignity of being swept. And I got to tell you, when Brady Tkachuk got rolled out as the first star and the crowd was going crazy and you could, so we're coming back here. We're coming back here. I mean,
you want to believe him because he's a Tkachuk, don't you? They find a way.
I would love to see it. And if for no other reason, to see the way the Toronto media and Leaf fans maybe would handle, I mean, still being in full control of the series.
They would still be confident of the series, as they should. But
absolutely. But you just know that with that, I mean, hey, listen, they're no different than Winnipeg. Jets lose 2 games, and all of a sudden everyone's talking about the playoff ghosts of the last few years and what's going on with this team. I mean, if they lost 2 straight to Ottawa and had to go back to Canadian Tire Center for Game 6, I think you'd start feeling it. Let's not forget, this is a team that blew that 3-1 lead to the Montreal Canadiens in the lockout, or not the lockout year, in the COVID year.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest moments of my life as a Habs fan. I couldn't believe that.
They were so much better than Montreal. And yet it was Montreal that went all the way. I mean, beat Winnipeg in the next round after Scheifele demolished Jake Evans and went from there. But I don't rule out Ottawa at all in this game. I think it's going to be another very, very tight game. Again, you know, if a bad goal or two goes in, then obviously you can get away on either team. But make no mistake, I mean, the Sens aren't just going to be, hey, it was great that we made the playoffs and we didn't get swept and this is their time. I mean, if they're going to go down, they will go down swinging, led by Brady Tkachuk tonight. And I think this is going to be a tight game. Like, it's funny how, you know, it's minus 192 for Ottawa at plus 1.5. I mean, that tells you that they certainly think that this is going to be a very close game. And if we're talking about a 1-goal game, I think of it like an overtime game that could probably go either way. So I don't know if I'll have the Stones just to straight up take Ottawa on the money line, but man, they are absolutely a live dog tonight. And if they can win, they really ramp up the pressure on the Leafs to get it done on the road before seeing a 3-0 lead evaporate into a Game 7 situation where a lot of the things I've been saying about the Jets going into Game 5 would be very applicable to the Leafs, although they've had this before and they haven't passed the test very often.
Rod Z over in the chat going 3-teamer Ottawa, Minnesota, and Edmonton plus 1165. Rod also says bet on Ottawa on the money line off a close win by 1 goal over division rival. Ottawa's record in the 2025 season coming off a 1-goal win versus division rival 8-0. So they followed up the tight divisional wins with victory so far. So Rod Z's usually got some pretty good trends for us, and that is one that is kicking around as well. Huss, I want to get to this text from you from Gary from Winnipeg. Stanley was passed by to play the last game in St. Louis. He should be put back into the lineup and told to hit any player wearing a St. Louis jersey. Winnipeg must show a physical presence in Game 5, otherwise things will not go well for the Jets. Any thoughts? Gary from Winnipeg, the old fart, texting into 780-218-9999.
What's up, Gary? I agree. I think Stan is in. I was surprised, to be honest, that Hayden Fleury went in. Listen, for all the heat that Logan Stanley has taken from fans, it was Luke Schenn that had the nightmare in St. Louis. I mean, Game 3, he took 3 penalties, and he got absolutely smoked on the boards on a play that was a direct turnover and ended up straight in the back of the net. Now, the one thing is, Schenn, I think of all the players in the Jet lineup and on the Jet blue line can sort of handle a terrible game and move on. You know, he's been there. He's done that. He's seen it all. This is not new for him. But to Gary's point, and we'll get into this on WST today after we sort of see what's happening at Jets practice. I thought Colin Miller, when he was in Game 3, actually acquitted himself very, very well. It would be a stretch to think that they might bench Luke Schenn, considering what they gave up for him and what he adds to the lineup when he's playing
interesting.
Well. But I would have a lot of time, and I will maybe even make the argument that a Miller-Stanley pairing on the third pairing and give Luke a game off might be the way to go. I don't think that will happen. But to Gary's point, I absolutely expect Logan Stanley back in. I mean, if you want to really see what's switched in this series from Game 1 and 2 to Game 3 and 4, it's pretty simple. It's who's been controlling the blue ice in front of the goaltenders. The Jets were the better team in Game 1 and 2. Montgomery talked about that. The Blues adjusted and were the better team in that. And Logan Stanley will help you in that aspect. You just don't want to see any of those mistakes that can sometimes be really costly. But for the most part, he's been pretty good on that. So I think there's a spot for Stanley in the lineup to Gary in Winnipeg on the text line.
It is the Lock Shop right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're watching over on YouTube today, if you have not yet subbed to our channel, give us a sub here at EST. Also hop over to Winnipeg Sports Talk and give Huss a sub over there as well. Hammer the thumbs up for us. We surpassed 100 likes yesterday and ended up pushing the Lock Shop up. We almost had 1,000 views on the Lock Shop yesterday. So it was that was I think our biggest YouTube day for the Lock Shop. And I think a lot of it had to do with people hammering that thumbs up, pushes the show out to others. So if you are watching over on YouTube today, and there's 250 of you watching, hammer the thumbs up for us. Let's try to get that over 100 again, and we'll see if it can drive the numbers of of the Lock Shop up today. I think that's it from the National. Did you watch any of the, you might not have, but did you watch any of the Warriors-Rockets game last night?
No.
Those two teams, like if you like bad blood, a series with Dylan Brooks on one side and Draymond Green on the other is all you could have asked for. Like Draymond probably should have been kicked out in the first half of the game. Instead, he had 5 fouls. He didn't play again until about 4 minutes left. Steph only had 17 points last night, but Jimmy Butler went off in the fourth quarter, had 14 points. He was quoted last night after the game, and he said, "Get me on the record with this. I don't like Dylan Brooks." Like they were back and forth the entire time. It was a nasty, the first round of the NBA playoffs might have been extremely physical. Like the Pistons and Knicks were beating the hell out of each other. This Warriors-Rockets series has been outstanding from a physical perspective so far. I think, what was that? There was essentially a basketball fight in the Nuggets-Clippers game between James Harden and Aaron Gordon. Like it's, and you know what? Some of these victories, Cleveland just won a series. They won by 53 last night or whatever. They won the entire series on average by more than 30 points a game. It's the biggest margin of victory in any NBA playoff series ever. But there are some games right now in the NBA playoffs that are being won like 98-94. Like we're seeing like some good physical defensive battling. And it has made for one of the more entertaining first rounds of the NBA playoffs than I've seen in a long time.
Here's an NBA take. Is there any team, and I know the Lakers get a lot of love from the media, but when it comes down to it, is there any team that gets more favored by the media than the New York Knicks? Can you imagine if what happened to the Pistons in game 3 and 4 was reversed and it was the Knicks that got screwed on back-to-back games? You would have had Stephen A taking the first 15 minutes of First Take.
Yeah. You
would have had all of these other New York-based, media personalities. And listen, I don't hide who I'm cheering for. So I'm kind of fine with that. It just, I can't stand the fact that so many of these people claim to be these big J journalists and then stomp so hard for one team. And when something as egregious as what happened in game 4 with the non-call on Tim Hardaway Jr.
Well, they actually, I saw Stephen A after be like, was it a foul? Yeah, it was a foul. But they didn't call it because they hadn't been calling that all game. Knicks. Like, I was just like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
What would happen if that happened to LeBron in a game decider? They might have to go into special programming.
Yeah, but
on ESPN.
But they would be torching him, though. They'd say he was faking the foul or something along those lines. Like the Lakers are in the spotlight a ton, but it's mostly
Luka,
for people just
matter.
criticizing them.
Even LeBron.
Yeah. They're just
like, that was the most obvious foul.
Yeah.
And then didn't they review it?
Did they review that one? I know they reviewed the Dylan Brooks one on.
They told them after the fact that, it was a foul, but
yeah. I don't know. Like, I wonder how much that helps because, like, late in game 4 of that Lakers series, Luka was tripped going up the floor, and Redick was pissed about it after. I wonder how much it eases things as a fan base. Like, when you see the officials admit to being wrong in a critical moment of the game, you're just like, that doesn't help, man. Like, you're not helping me in any situation. It's just pissing me off more that you were wrong and you're coming out and talking about it, but I don't know. I saw that come up for that Lakers call, and I was just like, cool. You got the biggest moment of the game called incorrectly. I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating. But it's not like unlike NHL officiating. I mean, first round officiating, first round is just so... Somebody had texted in this morning, was just like, guys, the first round of the playoffs is on point again. Like, it's just hectic. There's suspensions. There's horrible officiating. He goes, get to the second round, and it just seems like things settle in a little bit. And maybe it's because you get the better officiating crews advancing or something like that. But both leagues, the first round has just been bloody insane.
You're a big CFL guy. Have you done much work on the CFL draft?
Well, I mean, a little bit. But the Elks didn't have they don't have a first rounder this year. They lost it by taking Zach Mathis, the big 6'7" wide receiver in the supplemental draft last year. Pick. Yeah, so they lost their first pick, so they don't pick until outside of outside of the first round. So we didn't spend as much time as we usually would on it. The interesting thing this year is obviously the two quarterbacks. Curtis Rourke gets drafted in the NFL, and Elgersma gets invited to numerous mini camps. I know Marshall Ferguson did his mock, and the CFL draft does go down later this afternoon. Import draft already taking place. In Marshall Ferguson's mock, I think he had one of those two young quarterbacks going to Saskatchewan in the second round, and he had the other one going to Winnipeg in the second round. So it'd be interesting. I don't. Huss, you think a second round pick is where you move on these guys who you may eventually get and may eventually could be awesome, but you're going to have to patiently wait?
Well, listen, I'm seeing. Well, no, I don't think those guys are going to be there. Well, Rourke might. I mean, Rourke's been drafted by the 49ers.
Yeah, I don't see him going in the first round, man. I'd be pretty stunned.
No, but Elgersma is a different story. For all the hype, and listen, he had a ton of NFL interest. He didn't get picked. And as we go into the CFL draft, he has not signed anywhere as well.
Yeah, just minicamp invites, right? He hasn't signed like a UDFA yet or anything.
No. So I'm really intrigued about Elgersma. I was talking to John Hodge today from 3 Down Nation, and John's got his final mock draft, which was done kind of before the aftermath of the NFL draft kind of panned out. And, you know, we had this conversation today that the Bombers picking at 6 and then having 2 second-round picks, if they really like this guy, I don't think they're going to be able to count on him being available at 15. Which means with the 6th pick, do you think about taking a quarterback?
Oh, wow.
I mean.
You're talking Elgersma here.
I'm talking Elgersma. Yeah, I mean, I think Rourke is too uncertain. Although, to be honest, I mean, you know, if you've got an extra pick and teams stay off of him, maybe you go Cleveland Brown style and pick them both. The problem with the Bombers is that this draft is maybe even more important for them than a lot of other years in the past because their Canadian talent has been pilfered. Ford is playing with his brother in Edmonton. Yep. Liam Dobson signed as a free agent, so that's another hit to the ratio on the offensive line. So some of the areas where the Bombers were able to play Americans before, they're not going to be. They're going to need to find Canadians. So when we look at the draft and, you know, the prospects, they are going to need to find a DB that can probably play some strong side linebacker. And they'd love to get an offensive lineman. Quarterback is another area. I mean, with Zach Caleros being in the final year of his contract, they really don't have a quarterback of the future right now. And I'm just trying to think about what a star quarterback with the Canadian passport would mean in Winnipeg if the guy could win football games.
It'd go a long way, man. It'd be huge.
I mean, this team's already the standard when it comes to, you know, where they are in the community and their fan support and all that. And I mean, man, can you imagine? I mean, again, if you could get this guy signed and in camp this year from the get-go, what a year learning behind Zach Caleros could do for a young guy that's been playing 3-down football his entire time, taking it to the pro level. It's really intriguing. I'll go on record right now. I would love it if the Bombers take Elgersma at 6 and then get the best 2 players that they can get for their needs in the short term in the second round, because they are, you know, quarterbacks are so difficult to find. This guy really seems like he's got a special skill set and talent. He's a Canadian guy. It would be a great story for the Bombers, and it would be the first indication that they do really have the sight set on the future as well in the post-Zach Caleros era, which could very well begin at the end of this season.
It is uncharted territory here for Curtis Rourke, the other Canadian quarterback that will be drafted at some point tonight, because he was picked. Jesse Palmer's the last Canadian quarterback to be selected when it was 2001. So we're looking at like a quarter of a century here, pretty much. What do you think would be a reasonable timeline that a CFL team would expect before they may get their hands on Curtis Rourke? How patient do you have to be? If whoever selects him tonight, are they making that play for 2027, 2028? What do you think has to be the thought process?
I think you're hoping it'd be 2026, but you probably can't count on that at all. Listen, you can't count on anything. He's been drafted.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it
NFL.
works out for him. Yeah.
I mean, and listen, he didn't just get picked by anyone. He got picked by the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, who knows a thing or two. The last 7th round quarterback they picked.
Yeah. He's their starter who's about to cash in a big deal. Yeah.
Big time. So,
yeah, that's a good point, buddy. You're right.
If he can go in and make the club, and again, Purdy's going to sign. He'll play most of the time, although he does get hurt. I mean, maybe he does get the opportunity to show what he can do. I think he'll be more than happy on being on an NFL roster, learning in the 49ers offense and 4-down football for the next, little while. So the fact that he has been drafted, Elgersma still not signed with anybody, like the 3-down quarterback was, maybe getting drafted was a really great story. Curtis Rourke did it, but obviously playing in the NCAA. If you believe that this guy's future is in the Canadian Football League, I think you jump on him. And that's why I think he'll go ahead of Curtis Rourke tonight. I'd
be pretty surprised if it went the other way. I mean, this is a guy that you're probably going to get your mitts on much sooner than Rourke getting a look in San Francisco, maybe being patient in San Francisco for a few years. Maybe it doesn't work out there after a couple of seasons, and then he goes and tries to hop on a roster somewhere else. Like there's no guarantee that you see Rourke in the next 3 years in a CFL training camp, where I'm pretty sure you're going to get a good look at Elgersma within 2 years for sure.
The Curtis Rourke draft position over under is 6.5. I think that's an over all day long. The Elgersma draft position is 7.5. And I'll be honest, I think I might put a little bit on the under on that one. Because I think Winnipeg, who's picking at 7 right after them? Is it the Ticats?
Let me see here.
I stupidly closed my mock draft here. Where's John Hodge?
Come on, load up here. Here we are. Argos picks 7th. Calgary picks 8th. Then Hamilton's 9th and Edmonton's 10th.
Well, the Argos have always, I could see the Argos potentially going in for a guy like Rourke, maybe. Now, whether they would do it in round 1 or whether they would wait.
I don't think they'd do it in 1.
Hey, listen, they just put Shedeur on their negotiation list. Were you not thinking during like the Saturday when?
Of course, you're thinking.
Who is rostering Shedeur Sanders on their list? Toronto, I think, is the one that makes the most sense. Can you imagine Chad Kelly passing the baton to Shedeur Sanders as the starting quarterback of the Toronto Argonauts?
Yeah, that would be very Argos as of late. I do. Yeah, the Rourke thing's interesting. Like, you've seen what his brother has done. He has more hype and appears to be better than his brother was coming out of college. I mean, if you are willing to be patient, this could be a big cash cow for you a few years down the road. Like a Canadian, if he's anything like his brother, Canadian star quarterback that you can market a franchise around. Maybe a team, maybe a team does move on him earlier than I expect tonight. Either way, I'm excited for him.
And we've seen what his brother's done in the Canadian Football League. So, I mean, I think he'd be more a sure thing, but at the same time, he's far less of a sure thing to actually even be available to play in the CFL, and that is the thing. But
do you think the Riders would take Elgersma at 4 ahead of the Bombers? They've got Trevor Harris. They've got Jake Mayer there right now. Harris is obviously getting on. I think Jake Mayer, let's say Harris plays another year, Jake Mayer gets in, you give him a year. If you actually think he can be the guy, then maybe you keep him. But if he's not the guy, you could have Elgersma ready to take over right there after that.
Yeah. There's some other players. I'm just trying to pull up this damn mock that I was just working off of with John Hodge.
I was looking for Hodge's mock on his Twitter account. I couldn't see it anywhere.
I was literally just talked to him. CFL draft. Here we go. Top 5 prospects. Well, let me just put in John Hodge mock draft. CFL mock draft. Oh, here we are. Okay, so Connor Shea, who right now is minus 182 to go to number 1, he's got to the Stamps. The other guy that I think could go, who might be a better play right now, is Montana receiver Keelan White. They have him at 3 in this to the Red Blacks. He's plus 140 to go. Now, again, he's from Montana. Dickinson is the legend in Montana. Major connections to that program. Offensive guy. So if Dickinson has the say, maybe they do go that way. I think that's probably a better play from a betting standpoint than Shea at minus 182. Now, the Riders, they had him with another Montana player, a defensive lineman, Hayden Harris. He's one of these guys that has qualified for Canadian citizenship through his mom, who was born in Vancouver and raised in Regina. They've got a good defensive line, but they say it's been difficult to pass on him here, considering his frame, production, athleticism, and pro readiness. And then the Alouettes, the first offensive lineman going off the board, they have it 5 going to Montreal. John did say that if Fortin dropped to Winnipeg, they'd probably take him, knowing their needs on the offensive line. But the big question is just inside that Bomber room in particular, but to your question, maybe Saskatchewan as well, how much they're thinking about the future at the quarterback position and how much they're thinking about plugging present needs right now. And of course, that all-important Canadian ratio when it comes to week 1 of the CFL season.
Should be a good one tonight. Huss, what's going on in WST today, buddy?
Well, you know what? There's been a lot of talk about goaltending, obviously. Shout out to Mike McKenna, one of our faves. He is now less in the sports media game. He's opened up a 10,000 square foot liquor store in St. Louis. And he was kind enough to lock the door on the office and lock in with us on this Blues Jets series today and the goaltending battle and what he's seen from Binnington and in particular from Hellebuck. So that is some great stuff. I've already got that in the can. Jeff Hamilton's going to join us. We will do about a 15-20 minute draft preview, talking the league overall, but also with John Hodge about the Bombers picks. That will be coming up. And of course, the latest on the Jets, back at practice, expecting to get Gabriel Velarde in the lineup tomorrow. We'll hit all of that. And Connor Rabchak and Liz Hood will have a practice report from the rink. So we got a very, very busy show coming up in about 5 minutes over on WST.
Give them a sub. Go check out Winnipeg Sports Talk. Get started in about 5 minutes. We've got 2 guys and a goalie going live here in 5 minutes on Edmonton Sports Talk with myself, Gager, and Matt Cassian as we continue to get you ready for the Oilers and the Kings tonight. Critical Game 5 down in LA. That is going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.